Hey YouTube, this is Anna
This lady.
from Ladies and Anna's Journey, coming to give a video about our second parent adoption process.
So, me personally, I feel like second parent adoption amongst lesbians is very important, and I feel like not all, but majority of people don't take same sex relationships serious because of the parties involved. Like I feel like are just with some women are just here for the perks of being with a woman, and they're not here for the forever aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? And some non-bio moms, mostly studs. I mean, non-bio parents, mostly studs, are okay with that. They're okay with they're okay with having a baby with somebody and not getting legal paperwork. And I feel like, for me personally, that's not okay. I've been strong about that from day one. Remember? And at first, you was just like, "What? It sounds crazy." But now,
I thought it was a lot to do.
Yeah. So it was like I was like, I'm not knocking anybody. I just feel like if you feel like that person worded their bond okay, I feel like her word is her bond. But just in case, and it was more of a God
tonight. I'm sorry.
It was more of a God forbid type of thing. Something happens to her, I don't get my child. So but in most situations, a lot of films, and I know a few that just leave, and you know what I'm saying. Not just films with the bio mom just leaves, and the other person is just
take the baby with them.
Yeah, it's just sitting there, like, you know what I'm saying. So I think that is very important to have it. So we're just gonna talk about a few things that we went through during the process. I just told you why it was important to me and the steps.
I just felt like it was important to me to give her a second parent adoption is because I'm not saying that like my family wouldn't take good care of my children in the event of something happening to me, but I just prefer that Alani be with her father. So, and that, with that being said, I know that the only way she would have been able to get her in the event of something happening to me is that we had paperwork, because my family would fight her for Alani. It sucks because Ane would be placed in a different home than Alani. My kids wouldn't be together in the event of something happened. That's not what I want.
I mean, but you put in the will that
I did put in my will that I wanted her to be placed with Lady, but she does have a bio dad, and even though he's not in her life right now, she does have a bio dad, and he has rights. So, it's a chance that that's where she'll be going. So I just felt like she should have the same rights as Ane bio dad in the event of something happening to me, that she would be able to get Alani as well. So that's why it was more important. And just to give her a security blanket that even if we don't work out and we go our separate ways and split up, that the baby will always be hers and I won't be able to take her from her, which I would never done. But I just wanted to let her know. I would have never did that. But I just wanted to let her know for sure, like, no, I'm real and this is real. So,
before we get into that, also, I know I'm going to get to the point in the whole step so everybody can, because we asked a lot of people, like, that went through the process to help us through it when we was going through it. So, I don't really know if it was a video out, so I hope this video will help somebody. But before I get to that point, I wanted to make a point about,
can't remember.
What's the last thing you just said?
How it was a security blanket for you. And I was just talking about how I just prefer the kid to go with you. Okay. Can't remember?
Nah, just
okay. She can't remember. All right, so I believe it was the end of February. We were recommended to a lawyer's firm from a couple on Facebook, a lesbian couple that we know from Facebook. So I decided to research them and look them up. Their name is Deutsch and Deutsch. It's twin sisters. They both are lesbians, and they work out of New York, New Jersey, and I want to say PA, but I'm not sure about PA. But for sure, New York and New Jersey. They work out of those areas. So we contacted them by email, and we received the email back setting up a consultation to sit down with them. So on March 3rd, I believe, it was like the beginning of March, I think it was March 3rd, we sat down with her. So she came to our home to do her consultation. We met her at our home, and we had to provide her several documents for Alani as far as original birth certificate, proof of pregnancy. We also had to provide her with our receipts from the sperm bank, our receipts from the doctor information that helped conceive her.
Personal information about ourselves.
Personal information about ourselves. We just had to give her all this information so that she knows that it's not a father out there, and we're basically ripping him of his rights. So that's why she needed like all the information, because they had to make sure that what we're giving them is the truth.
Yeah, and this is for the state of New Jersey. So we don't know how it works in other states, but for any same-sex couples in New Jersey, before this lawyer, we went to another lawyer who had us under the impression that you had to go to your county. You had to go to the courthouse in your county. You don't have to do that. We went to Exeter County. We don't live in Exeter County. She filed there because our lawyer said it's the most gay-friendly county. So,
yeah, that's what we did.
So, okay, well, then that same day we did a will, because it's a 3 months, maybe longer process, but 3 months is like, that's a good timing because it can be longer. 3 months process until you get a court date and everything gets settled. Like, we're going to go into detail what everything means. But we got a will because, God forbid anything can happen from March to June. That's what we was thinking. And then the will said, God forbid, in the event something happens to her or happen to both of us, or, who the kids go with.
So that's why it was important that we had a will in place. Lady actually didn't do a will, just me.
Yeah.
She didn't do one. I was the only one that did the will. I wasn't pressured or anything like that. I thought that it would be a great idea to have a will, just so that in the event of something happening to me, everybody know that it's in my writing where I want my children or my assets to go.
Yeah. So the first day was a deposit.
Yeah, we had to leave a deposit with her to retain her as our lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And after we left the deposit, over the next few weeks, we talked like almost like every day or every other day with her, letting her know we were finished getting what we had to give.
Oh no, she just had she was waiting on the court.
She was waiting on the courts, right? So she was she was giving us information as far as when the court is gonna allow her to file. So when she filed the petition, the court was gonna issue a home study place that we had to use, and we have to use the place that the home study the court recommend for us. So we end up getting...
I'm going to cut you off. Not every court recommended, but Exeter County did. So back to me saying this is New Jersey. They work out in New Jersey and New York. She had recommended some home study people that are also lesbians. So that, but we had to go with who the court
recommended.
Yeah.
So that was in like March. So about April, the paperwork was filed, and the court gave us a home study place, an agency to contact.
You want to
move me down?
I won't go down.
Hydraulics. So we was contacting the home study place. We contacted them a few times, but they haven't received our paperwork from the court or our lawyers yet. Because we were just trying to get ahead of things, because they told us that we were looking at June as our final court date. That's the date that we actually had to go to court in front of the judge. So finally, we were contacted by the home study agency, and they told us that because we weren't married, if we were married, we wouldn't have to do a home study at all. But because we weren't married, we have to do a home study, but it's not a full home study because I am the biological mother. So if I wasn't the biological mother and neither was Lady, and we were just adopting a child that wasn't related to us, then we would have to do a full out home study that had
multiple
everything
visits and real extensive. But this one was just one visit.
Because I was the bio mom.
Yeah, and if it was nothing wrong, then proceed it. And
if it was like if they found things wrong or they was a little concerned about her adoption, then they would have made multiple visits. But we did only have one visit. She came. She was very polite. She actually
the lady that came out to do the home study was super dope. The home study place, just in case anybody it's based out of Teaneck. Don't remember the name, the full name.
It's HAPS.
Yeah, it's based out of Teaneck. So the lady that came to us, she was a pretty dope lady.
Yeah, all you gotta do is type in HAPS.
But
they
Teaneck,
New
Jersey.
People,
they might not send. They send people based on what region you're in. So the lady lived in Scotch Plains. The lady who came. So
yeah,
we live like not too far from there. So she came. She was a pretty dope lady, and they asked you a lot of questions, and they want detail.
And that's when she gave us the big packages.
Yeah, they want detail. So the questions, like just an example, a few questions. They questioned me and her together. They questioned separate. They questioned
Ane.
And
I think they just looked at Alani. They were just watching her.
All four of us was in the kitchen in the beginning, and she seemed like the lady could really see the love with us. And then they go around the house making sure we had to childproof the house.
Yes, childproof everything you could think of. We had to go out and buy and make sure that it was childproof.
And they have no problem with your child being in the same room as you. Someone said that to us on TTC, right?
Oh, I don't remember. They did.
Yeah, it was like a lesbian couple gave us some pointers. Said long as the child have their own bed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That it should be. I don't remember who it was, but shout out to you. She did have her own bed, so they said as long as she have her own bed and section in your room, it doesn't matter if she share a room because Alani's in the room with us, and her sister has her own room. Ane has her own room, and we just went and took her tour. But sort of some questions she asked was like, so
you had to think about it.
Like, where did you grow up? Oh yeah, I'm from North. Where right now?
They asked about your childhood.
Oh, what do you remember about your childhood? I remember this. Oh, what about your parents? What about this? What about that? And I was be honest, don't lie. I was just very honest. And then afterwards, I told you, like, yo, I don't know if I should have been that honest. Like, I don't want to compromise. No, I was just very honest about my childhood. I mean, I had a normal child, but I was just, like, very honest about my dad, my stepfather, things like that. And, and they asked you basically, what type of morals do you want to teach your kids?
How you discipline them. Yeah. It was like a lot of questions, and then they gave us packages where we had to find.
But the whole morals, the morals thing, like they want to know what you're going to pass down to your kids. That was like, I like the question though. It sounds weird, but I told her like, we were family oriented, so I wanted to pass that down because that's the way my family is. Like, we are very family oriented.
So inside the package, it had
I don't remember.
Yeah, inside the package it had a couple places where you had to find references, and the references had to be like somebody who like is not family but is a friend.
It was like 6, right?
It was like, and we had to really like get all these people to do it, and a lot of people don't like to do things for you, and they got to sign their name and things like that.
I had to get it was 6. It was like one from your job, one who was a neighbor, and I think you got and then it was
medical. 4. Like, you had to fill out, like, all this type of medical.
Nah, I'm talking about the reference part. It was one that was
I don't remember all of them, but it's just
I remember it was 4 from, 4 people who were not related to you at all. And one of them had to know you more than 10 years. Because when we did, my best friend, I knew her since I was 5. So, one had to know you more than 10 years. None of them can be related to you. Had to do a neighbor. One had to be your supervisor or job. But I just got a letter from my job stating that I worked there, basically. Because I thought that was kind of weird to put a supervisor in my business. And when I asked, we asked the home study and our lawyer, they said just get a letter stating that you worked there, how long you been working there, and basically that's it. And the reference part, they had to fill out some stuff. Like they really went into detail. They had questions like do you basically think they're fit parents type questions, like. But shout out to everybody who did it for us. They were super dope for doing that, and we appreciate it. And they were gonna call, right? They had to write their numbers. I don't think they called them, but
they gave them an address.
Yeah, wrote the number down, write your address. And we kind of stressed about that a little bit because we was like, who we gonna get? Like, I don't want them to figure out that these people do know us, because a lot of my family, I have my father's last name, so a lot of my family, my mom's side, we don't have. They got my mom's last name, so I didn't want it to come back in that type of way, so we didn't use none of my family. So.
What happened after that? After you had to get your fingerprints done?
Yeah, got to get your fingerprints done. Do medical, like you were saying, like
And it was something else, physical. Like a child abduction thing. Remember?
Oh, clearance? Just a background check.
Yeah, but it was...
and I had something on my record. So if you have something, I don't have nothing on my record for real. Like it's just within the county I live, the town I live in is something that basically got thrown out, but it still pops up. She knows she's a law enforcement because she sees it when she looks my name up. And it's nothing, but it got thrown out. Like I went to court, it got thrown out.
Because it was once there, you had to go through an extra step to get what is it called?
It was something we had to get from the court stating that it got thrown out.
They need a deposition. It's a deposition. They needed a deposition of what happened, basically the outcome. And she had to write something basically saying that, like...
I never do it again. And
it was it was a mistake and this is what happened. I wasn't convicted of it. So that definitely was like, oh my God, this is not happening. I thought that was it for us once we seen that and it came up. But once they told us what to do, we was able to do that. And get that done and over with. And the only thing is that that clearance, I can't remember the actual name of it though.
It was a background check, just so
but it had like the letterhead and said clearance. It didn't say background. It said something about child abuse clearance or something like that. That's what it was.
Yeah, making sure you didn't have
no records abusing kids or something. Yeah. That took forever to come back. Like that came back probably like they was like, well, all your paperwork
was done like the middle of May,
but not that. That came back in June. That came back at the beginning of June. Because I'm like, oh my God, it's already coming down to a few more days. Mm-hmm. If this not back, they're going to have to push it back a couple more months.
Yeah,
so lucky it came back.
8 weeks or something.
Lucky it came back. It came back good, of course. And we was able to get our final court date, which was June 11th.
2015.
We was finally get our court date. And we was so nervous. Right? You was nervous.
I was happy.
I was nervous. You was nervous.
No. But
I was nervous. I was like, okay, this is it. Like it's gonna be official. Like, she's gonna be officially her parent, even though in our eyes she was already officially her parents. But now the world knows and the world's gonna have to respect that this is her parent.
So our lawyer, she also filed to get a new birth certificate. So your lawyer has to do that. Because if they don't, they're not going to.
You just have to send the paperwork in yourself, though.
Oh, yeah, you can do that, too.
She filed and sent us the paper, and we just have to send it in with the money order.
And we did that. And now we have a birth certificate that says both our names on it.
Yeah, and then the court date, we got there early. All of us was there, me, her.
And the other sister showed up.
Alani and me, her, Alani, and Ane was there. But the person who came to court wasn't the twin that we met at the house. This was the second twin, which is exactly identical.
Even down to their personalities. Like, how like some people just act different, like Tia and Tamara, for example. They act totally different. It's like they act, these twin lawyers act exactly the same. I say they probably just playing us, probably the same person, and then see them in the room together. Not just playing.
But yes, two of them. So she met us at the court, and we sat around for a little bit, waiting because there was another family going in the court. Then we get to go in the court, and we got to stand up there. We didn't really have to say nothing.
She asked me.
The lawyer talked for a little bit, like reading the petition that she sent, and then she asked you what?
She asked both of us, but mainly me. It was like everything. You know how like in court they go over the whole
the petition. She went over the whole petition.
Yeah, in court, they go over everything. They don't roll everything. So basically, when she goes over it, she asks me, I have to answer yes or no. Remember that?
And then they ask you, like, are you going to look at her? Are you going to take care of her as your child?
I had to say, like, a little speech.
Yeah, something like that. She said
the judge asked me, well, why do you want to adopt her? So
like, basically, like, why you want to adopt her? And if I grant this adoption, will you protect her and look at her as if she was your biological child? Like, or something like in that nature. That
I answered it. I guess she liked the answer because she said.
And then she said she's going to grant this adoption. And she hit her little thing. Gavel. Then they also had, like, in the courtroom on the side, it was toys. And after the adoption, Alani was able to go pick a toy.
Both of them.
Yes, they did. But I guess because I had another child there that they allowed her to go pick one too.
She would pick first.
But yeah, they allowed them to go pick a toy.
Then we took a picture.
And we took a picture with our lawyer.
Our judge too.
And our judge. And what else? And then we took just a few pictures outside
with our lawyer. No,
the lawyer really didn't want her picture to be posted.
But we keep it for us personally. We're gonna print it out and put it inside of a book and photo book. People don't do photo books no more.
Maybe I insert at the end of this video. I insert the picture of us with the judge and the lawyer.
With the judge, but not the lawyer.
Why?
She asked us not to do it, so.
She said on Facebook. She never said YouTube.
That is very public.
We're not
going to do that. So.
She said Facebook. She didn't say
you want to run or something. We don't know this lady life. And then after that, we went in the hallway, took some pictures.
We took some more pictures, and then we left, and then we went to take them out to celebrate.
Because we was in the hallway waiting for the final paperwork. She was talking to the clerk, I think, or somebody.
And then we went out to celebrate. We took them to the city for their first time, right?
For their first time, I doubt it was probably Alani's.
No. It was the second time. So we finally took them. We took them to the city to Dave and Buster and let them have fun and enjoy. No, remember we took that picture with them and the little characters.
That was BBQs.
Okay, so this was the second time. Can't remember, but yeah, we took them to Dave and Buster's and let them play around and eat and have fun, just to celebrate this
adoption.
The adoption, yeah.
We ate at BBQs in New York, and then what else after that?
Then some butthole hit our new car.
I don't have nothing to do.
I'm just saying. And then we wait. This is happened. What happened on our adoption day? This what
happened. We went out there for a long time.
We went out there, and we went out there, and as soon as we got out the tunnel, a guy hit a limousine. He was changing lanes. He was in front of us, and he hit a limousine. And then he backed into our car. So now I'm screaming, I'm yelling, and I'm trying to calm down because I'm like, I'm about to lose it. Like, you know.
Anyway, long story short,
hours, the cops came and said that this wasn't their district, but they would stand by with us. No, it does. They're going to tell me that this not their district, and they're going to stand by with us. And they stood by for 4 hours. We waited for a cop to come. And then they 4 hours. The kids was in the car crying. It was aggravated. They were hungry. They was thirsty. They had to pee. It was hot.
So we had to keep turning the AC on. Then they got cool. Turn it off.
So I was like,
short. We went to David Buster's late, but then we went to BBQs. We ate, and then we went back home. And I think I went to work the next day, and then we came back late.
That's how I was looking.
And then it took us a while. We got our paperwork in the mail.
Like a little bit after, like.
But it took us a while to just us to mail off
the birth certificate paperwork.
Yeah,
it took us a while to mail off.
Now we
actually just got it like about 2 weeks ago. We actually got it. I'm like, something came in the mail from like the health service. I'm like, who's sick? Who? What? Who? And then when we opened it up, it was her 2 birth certificates because we ordered 2. One gave her the original copy, and I had took we had ordered 2, so I had ended up getting the second copy of it, of the birth certificate. So even if you're married, I recommend getting one. I know that they're saying that just because you're married, you don't need one anymore because you're married, and once you marry, that's legally your child. I understand that, and our lawyer was telling us that even if we are married,
to get it done,
because you never know. Some states, this was at the time when some states didn't recognize it.
What? Marriage?
Yeah,
that too. But when you think about it, I say just get it done for the simple fact that the process is easier when you're married. Though you don't have to do no home study at all. So
no, you just gotta file and wait for a court date.
So and you can actually file. You don't have to go through a lawyer, but the process going through a lawyer, in my opinion,
it's a little easier because you don't have to do it. But the cheaper way is to file on your own, file and then go to court, and that saves you a couple $100.
Go with a lawyer, not a couple $100,000, over $1,000. Let's see. It depends on what lawyer you go with, because some lawyers
are more expensive than that.
Yeah, so. You know, it saves you a lot. But that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think that's about it. So, you guys, if you do not have a second parent adoption, please consider it. Please think of it. Think about it, because it's definitely a great paperwork to have. You know?
Yeah.
It definitely is. So, we're going to end this video here.